YNABers, my name is Jesse Meekum from YNAB. It stands for You Need a Budget. Happy Valentine's Day. Today I want to talk about getting to the heart of priorities, and I did that on purpose. Last week, I believe it was last week, we talked about mine and Julie's revelation around her priorities as it related to the grocery budget and how she wanted to basically have a great shopping experience with kids in tow. That was more important to her than saving the money, price matching and things like that. That was an example of getting to the heart of a priority, really determining exactly what they are. And sometimes it just takes, what do they say, 5 whys to get to the bottom of something? Let me give you another example. And I want you to do this with each of your categories. Maybe pick off a couple each time you sit down to your budget. Maybe just one. If you're sitting down to your budget every couple days to kind of reconcile and see how things are going, pick the top category and ask yourself why 5 times. Why do I spend my money here? Answer it, ask why again. Answer it, ask why again, and so forth. Do it 5 times. Write it out if you want. Why, answer, why, arrow over, and you'll get to kind of the core. So, first thing. An example, when I was talking with a friend, this is quite a while ago, and they were really, and I was mentioning this at a class I was teaching at the university here, where these students are learning how to counsel people. They're going to be financial advisors, and we're talking about budgeting. And I gave the example of this person that loved going to the movies. They had a lot of kids, like me, and they loved going to the movie theater. They loved buying the popcorn. They loved the extra butter. Who doesn't? They loved getting the sodas. They liked having those carriers. Everyone's lining up, sitting down. We're going to the movies. They're not paying like the cut rate price, like $5 Tuesday or whatever it's called. They're not going early in the day. They're paying the premium to go there for the movie night experience. They're seeing the posters, the lights, the smells, the sticky floor. No, they were going to a nice theater, so there wasn't sticky floor. They clean it up. Anyway, they're having this great experience. This family loved movies, right? They loved that time. And my friend was kind of telling me, like, we're spending a ton of money here. And it was starting to bother him, and I said, well, tell me about the movies. Tell me about this experience. Well, he outlined the popcorn and the carriers and the food, and they loved the smell, and they loved the anticipation. And I asked why, and he's like, well, we like being together. We like having the experience together. We're all laughing together. I said, well, why? Well, yeah, it's just a great family experience where we're all kind of bonding, and we can talk about the movie later on. When, the next day we're eating dinner. Oh, remember this part? That was so funny, or this was interesting. I just watched the movie Trolls with my kids, and we were talking about happiness because it was a silly movie, but funny. And not an endorsement, but anyway, you should. There's this interesting bit where post-movie, like the next day, we're all talking with the kids, and they're like, yeah, it meant you can't find happiness in this way and that way, and happiness doesn't come from external things. Good message. Funny movie. And he was saying that. I lost my train of thought there. He was saying that as it related to their movie experience, where they could have these conversations later about it and how much he loved that. I say, why again? Well, I don't know. We're bonding, we're making these connections. So I could stop saying why, because I felt like we'd gotten to the root where we was talking about family time, making connections. So he and I together kind of brainstormed, how could we achieve these family connections, this bonding? How could we achieve this in a way where you aren't feeling a little bit of friction with how much money you're spending on the event, right? Because he was like, man, we're spending a ton, is that right? I don't want to say whether it's right or wrong, but I do want to find out the why and get back to the heart of your priorities. So as we talked through that, we devised a movie night for the family that just checked every box for what was important to him for that event. And they did it that way. They loved it. There were some upsides to it that they saw, right? They didn't have to deal with the crowd. They didn't have to worry about seating. They didn't have to pay through the nose for the tickets. Now, you may have different whys for your movie-going experience than my friend did with his family. Totally cool. But the exercise is what's important. No judgment. Just why. And you try and say why in a way that's not accusing anyone. Why? No. Oh, why? Tell me more. Inviting that. And in that way, you do get to the heart of your priorities. One more little point, so I was running a little long because I got lost in that Trolls movie, but there's a bit where if you get to the why of your priorities and you keep that one piece of paper, every one of your categories, maybe it takes you a month to finish them all or whatever, you go through them all, it's why, you get to your core priorities. Then go through your priority list and see if you don't start to see some things kind of crisscrossing, right? Where you have some redundancy. Different categories are creating different experiences, kind of different core whys. They're delivering actually the same core why, right? That same core priority you're delivering, and you could start to see where you might be able to optimize, where you might be able to cut back, not because you're cutting away from what you care about, but you're just cutting away cruft that actually wasn't adding any value at the end of the day anyway. The value comes from delivering the experience that your priority, that your big want demands. And if you can deliver that experience in a way that costs less, all else equal, you'd do it every time. So go through that 5 whys exercise. Google it if you have any questions about it. I don't even remember who invented it. I apologize for not looking that up beforehand. Go through that, figure out the core for each of your priorities, see if there's some redundancy there, and leave a comment here on the video and let me know if you make any discoveries. I'd love to hear. Maybe I could share more with the Whiteboard Wednesday crew / audience later on. I will see you guys next week.